So the Bible tells us in Isaiah 26:3, you will keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee, because he trusts in you. Now, I just sent that line to a buddy of mine who was struggling a bit this past week. And I tell you it because here I am in our foyer, starting to look a little bit like Christmas around the church. Because some of you know I'm on a study leave this week, and my plan was that I would be preaching at Arundel Bible Chapel in Mississauga this Sunday. Rick Buck, who is our new regional director for Feb Central, is going to be at Downsview on Sunday. And my buddy Ross Kearney, who's the pastor at Arundel, is going to be preaching at one of their sister churches in Scarborough. Now the funny thing is each of us are still preaching at those churches, but each one of us is making a video to send to the church so they can play on their online services. Now, I've done this twice now. Like, it's very fresh for me. I'm still dressed for it. I just finished for the second time, and the audio didn't work. I don't have the thing plugged into the side of my cell phone properly. I guess I'm still frankly trying to diagnose it. And I'm preaching away, and I've done this sermon twice now, and both times I look at the recording and I go, oh, for pity's sake. But I had done the scripture reading at the beginning of it, and it works great. So I did it once, and I didn't plug it in right. I've done it another time now, and so I'm just going, Lord, what are you doing? Like, what are you up to? And there's an anxiety and an anguish, a little bit of frustration. Well, I guess I know the sermon well. I guess maybe by the third time, Arundel, I should get it right. But, you know, one of the things, Downsview Baptist Church family, to remember is that there's a kind of peace that comes from trusting that God knows what he's doing, even when I don't understand it. In fact, especially maybe when I don't understand it. Isn't that what the promise of that text says? You will keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee, or who's trusting in you. The one who's really committed his life to you, but in that moment is trusting, okay, I don't know what you're up to, but I know it's something good. I know you promise it's for my good. And in this case, not that hard to figure out. Okay, well, it's something in the sermon that you need to say differently, and never anything wrong with saturating in the text and me going over the study I've had of the word already, and a sense of what God's up to and you know what God's doing in the life of his people. And it's like, well, that's great. Okay, so I'll do it again. I like preaching. A little weird to do it in the foyer here by myself, but I like preaching. But you know, how many times am I robbing myself of the peace of God because I'm unwilling to trust that he does know what he's doing, even when I don't? Maybe especially when I don't. He says, you will keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee, because he trusts in you. I have to trust God. You have to trust God today. With that thing that's perplexing you, that you just don't understand why he's doing what he's doing. And frankly, how can it possibly work together for good? Right? You're going to throttle the next person who quotes Romans 8:28 to you in the middle of this COVID thing, right? And yet, just because we haven't trusted God perfectly doesn't mean his promises aren't true. And the great thing about the gospel is it doesn't mean he won't give you all the grace you need to trust him. Sometimes that's my independent problem. I think, oh, I just have to trust better. No, you have to submit, surrender. Stop trying to be the source of your own peace, Charlebois. Ask God for what he promises to give. I know that's not easy. You know that's not easy. You're feeling it today. We're getting closer to Sunday, and it's going to be an online service. We're not going to be in this building. Some of our friends are able to do that with smaller churches and multiple services, but as my one brother said, you got to pastor the people you have, and we've decided we're going to take a break. And so there's something, friends, about, again, trusting God that He knows what He's up to. He knows your frustration. He knows your anxiety. He understands that. He's the Lord over all of that as well. And yet, there's a promise of peace that comes from trusting Him. And yet there's a promise of grace for that trust, so that we may trust Him. So isn't it just keep coming back to, oh, Lord, I think it's Psalm 89, Lord, I am yours, save me. I am yours, help me. I just need what only you can give. Please, for the sake of the honor of your Son. I don't deserve it, but Jesus does. Jesus died for me to make me who I am. So please help me. And there's just a simple surrender to the Lord, to be honest with you, that I'm even feeling better as I make this little video for us today in our third of the lockdown logs. So I'm not discouraged. I'm a little perplexed. But even just talking this through, just reminding yourselves, rehearsing truths that you know, God promises that He can minister even in the midst of that. So let me remind you, just by information, no in-person services at Downsview till further notice. Go to our downsviewbaptistchurch.com webpage, and you will find instructions there that will be on 11 o'clock on Sunday mornings. Tonight, we usually have our Facebook Live on Wednesdays, but as you know, I'm on the study leave this week, so there's no Facebook Live tonight either. If you'd want, you can always go to the media tab on our website, downsviewbaptistchurch.com, and there's a media tab there, and all the Sunday services, all the Touching Base videos, daily ones, all the Wednesday Facebook Live videos, they're all there. The whole collection is there. Or you can just go directly to our YouTube page, type in YouTube and type in Downsview Baptist Church in Toronto, and you'll find them all there as well. So, well, I need to relax and go record a sermon. So, see you soon, Downsview. Cheers.